Robert. So a little over 2 years ago, I left Centers for Spiritual Living, and I did it for one reason only, and that was because my body was no longer asking, it was demanding that I give it attention. It was demanding it so much so that I could not override it with any sort of thought or any sort of practice. What started as unknown physical symptoms led me down a path of seeking answers. Well, actually, I was trying to find out what was wrong with me. And I kept trying, and what turned out to be me seeking answers actually morphed into an invitation to listen deeply, an invitation to stop and slow down, and an invitation to confront those things that continually got in the way of me living fully. And when I accepted that invitation, I had no idea what that would entail. I had no clue. And it took me deep. It took me down a deep spiritual path. And one that opened my eyes, softened my edges, and ultimately not only changed me, but transformed my life. And I want to be clear, I didn't leave Science of Mind behind. I actually carried it with me. Because the truths I learned here in this very community, the truths about consciousness, the truths about how thought is creative and the nature of spirit, those are the truths that I built my life upon, and that I continue to rebuild my life upon. And so in that, what I learned is that truth doesn't change, but my relationship to truth changed. And that was the key to transformation. Science of Mind teaches us that there is a universal power for good, and we can use it. And the truth is that we are always using it, whether we know it or not. And the way we look at this truth, it can feel so simple or so easy, but it often works more subtle than we think it does. It isn't something we force into motion by effort or will. It isn't activated by the right words or how many affirmations we say. This creative power responds to our consciousness, to what we are holding in our awareness, both seen and unseen. What we constantly recognize, accept, and embody shapes our experience of life. And this is important because consciousness isn't only mental. It's emotional, it's somatic, and it's relational, which means that the creative process doesn't only respond to our affirmations, it responds to the whole of us. When awareness is clear and inclusive, the flow of spirit is natural. But when something is unconscious, unmet, or unacknowledged, that too becomes part of the signal, not as punishment, not as failure, but as information. Science of Mind isn't asking us to override our humanity in order to be spiritual. It invites us to bring awareness to all of it, all of us, all of our thought, our feelings, our beliefs. And when we do that, spirit can move freely through us. And the irony is that when we don't do it, Spirit is moving freely through us. The good news and the bad news. And that's the nature of what it does. And when we understand this, we can see that change doesn't happen by working harder, about noticing what's wrong with us. In fact, Ernest Holmes says in chapter 3 that trained thought is more powerful than untrained thought. But here's where we get trapped, or here's where I got trapped. I got trapped in thinking that thought was just what happened between my ears. That thought was just what happened when I said my affirmations or said spiritual mind treatment. And so as I was on this journey, I realized that thought is so much more than that. How many people have wanted to change something and you have prayed and said your affirmations and even got other people to pray for you and put your prayer requests on every prayer list only to find out that nothing's changed? Nothing's changed. It could be because we got stuck here. So I want you to expand your definition of thought to not only include what we're consciously aware of, but include those parts, include the body intelligence, that which lies beneath the surface. Our body has wisdom. Our body has intelligence. And those signals that it gives, those are not something to dismember or cut off. Those are something to bring into our awareness and into our consciousness. And so when we think of thought, trained thought, as including all of us, that's where the power lies. That's where the power lies. So, in Science of Mind, we understand that spirit creates through our consciousness, not by our intentions alone, not by the words we speak, but all of us, including our inner atmosphere of how we hold our wisdom in our body, because those things that are in our body, they started long before we even had a spiritual language for them. And the law of mind is always working. It's exact, it's responsive, and it's natural. And what we teach here, it says yes to what we believe, yes to what we expect, yes to what we consistently embody emotionally and mentally. And this is empowering, but it's also humble, because we recognize that creation isn't happening to us. Creation is happening through us. And when we align and train our thought to include all of us, that's when we can be aligned in what it is we're creating and embodying. And much of this process isn't happening up here. It's happening in our totality of our awareness. So if this is how it works, if consciousness is creative, if life responds what we consistently hold in our awareness, then here is the question that follows. Why doesn't it always work as we expect it to work? Anyone ever have that experience? Why do we know the truth, believe the truth, embody the truth, and then we stay the same, stuck in those familiar patterns, only to say, I must have done it wrong. I must have not used the 5 steps correctly. I said you in my treatment. Oh my God, that was wrong. That was wrong. No. Here's what I've come to understand. most of the time, we don't get in our way consciously, we get in our way intelligently. Now, let me explain that. We do it through unprocessed emotions, old stories, subconscious beliefs that were formed long before we maybe even knew how to walk. At some point in our lives, something happened or something didn't happen, and our body responded and it kept us safe. And if it didn't keep us safe, we wouldn't even be able to survive in this world. We might not even be able to get out of bed. So we adapted. We adapted so much so that we forgot that our body kept us safe, and we even forgot that we have that trigger or that activation or whatever you want to call it within us. We learned to speak and when to stay quiet. We learned to shine and when to shrink. And we learned to people please or to hold back. Not because we were weak, but because we were wise and we knew how to keep our body safe at that time. For me, one of my adaptations was, I used to say it was my superpower to hide in plain sight. No one would notice me. And that worked really well until I wanted to get out there and show up fully. And when I did, I showed up 75% of the time, and there was always 25% of me that was held back. But I didn't realize that was a protection mechanism. I tried to affirm that thing away, overcome it, do all of the work, cut it off, rise above it, whatever it is, and you know what? It still was there. It still showed its face. So how do you do this? How do you get out of your own way? And here's where science of mind intersects with this. The creative process is always responding, not just to our conscious intentions, but to what's happening underneath them. So what it did through me was I showed up 75% of the time, and that 25% spirit said, oh, there's a little bit of a blip here, and so I'm just going to hold 25% of you back. You know, when we affirm abundance and we still have fear, when we claim our power, but the parts of us that have been hidden are not met, when we declare the truth but our body tenses up, we give spirit a mixed signal. And we don't even know it. And this isn't because science of mind is flawed. It's not even because we are flawed. It's because we're deeply intelligent. Our bodies are deeply intelligent. Unprocessed emotion doesn't just disappear because we think it away. Old stories don't go away because we outgrow them intellectually. They wait. They live within our body until a similar situation comes up, and then our body says, oh, I know that, I have to go protect her. And when they're not acknowledged, they quietly shape our thoughts, our timing, our relationship. And then we maybe even make excuses. Well, I guess it's just not the time. I guess God doesn't think it's the time for me to do this. And we start losing our sense of what's possible. But science of mind teaches us there's infinite possibility. And so when we train our thought to include all of us, when we develop a relationship with our inner world, That's what allows Spirit to move through us differently. That's what creates lasting change. Not by doing something wrong, but by bringing all of us, the good, the bad, and the ugly, with us. There's a saying in Science of Mind saying we are whole, perfect, and complete. And I want you to put your attention on the word whole. It doesn't say we are half good. It says we are whole, and in that wholeness includes everything, the parts we love and the parts we just want to dismiss. What's blocking the flow isn't the enemy, it's the messenger. And if we can sit with our unprocessed emotions, our old stories, and our subconscious beliefs, they begin to reveal something to us. But the trick is to sit there and to get curious. So this brings to mind a question. How do we do this without trying to fix or force ourselves? Anyone ever try to do that? Anyone ever try to just cut off that part of you that you don't like? You know what happens? Resistance. Automatically, resistance shows up in our face. And then we either have to fight resistance or just give in and say, I guess this is just the way I am. But here's where I want to offer a shift. If you're trying, change your energy from trying to allowing. Just allowing what is to be there. And then in that allowing, take it a step further and change it to curiosity. Curiosity is a superpower. Being curious changes the relationship with how we feel. It reveals new insights to us. It allows us to see things from a different way. And when we open those pathways, what Spirit does is it moves through us unblocked. We get out of our own way, and we allow our authentic self to show up in its full magnificence. For a long time, I thought being spiritual meant to rise above emotion. Anyone ever think that, right? To, deny sensation. I'm not feeling that way. I'm joyful, I'm joyful, I'm joyful. I'm really joyful, really joyful. It also, I used to think that I couldn't have a reaction, because if I had a reaction, well, that would give it away that really I'm not doing my work. Right? And that's the last thing I wanted to do, is to give away that I'm not doing my work. No, that's just not what it is. What I learned through my own healing is the body has wisdom. And the longer I can build capacity to stay with what's uncomfortable, the more it reveals itself to me. It doesn't mean it goes away, doesn't necessarily mean it's cured, but it is a portal and a pathway to understanding myself even more and even deeper. And that curiosity moves myself and my blocks out of the way to allow Spirit to flow freely through me. The body has memory. It's intelligent. It carries wisdom. And it really carries that original information that has kept you safe. So when sensation shows up, tightness, numbness, pain, relentlessness, it's not a problem. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to build a relationship with it. It's an invitation to approach it with curiosity instead of control. And when we do that, our whole dynamic changes. In Science of Mind, we say that awareness is the doorway to transformation. But again, awareness doesn't only live in our thought. It includes every part of us. It lives in sensation. And if we begin to develop a relationship with our felt sense, our internal being, then we learn how to stay present to the body when it's communicating. And the cool thing is that unconscious patterns then begin to reorganize naturally. There's nothing I need to effort or do. When I shift my relationship with what's going on in me internally, I open up new avenues of awareness, of insight. I open up new capabilities to stay with what may be unpleasant just a little bit longer. And that's where change happens. That's where transformation sticks. So, what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about the workshop that I'm going to offer today. It's called Unblocked. And it's really about becoming aware of our old stories, our old beliefs, and our old patterns, sitting with them and hearing what they have to say, building a relationship with them, and then creating change by just being, not by doing or efforting. When we get out of our own way, we allow what Spirit does to do it through us naturally and unblocked. So as we prepare for prayer, I'd like to just give you a little taste of the workshop. And so I'm going to invite you to go within, but you don't have to close your eyes. You don't even have to go within. You can do whatever feels comfortable with you. So if you do feel comfortable and close your eyes, I invite you to just become aware. Just become aware of what it feels like to be you. So bringing your awareness to your head and moving it down your body. Just notice. Notice those places that may feel tight or have a weight to it. Notice those places where it feels light and good. No judgment, just noticing, bringing your awareness all the way through your chest and your torso and into your back. Notice if there's any emotions, if there's any sense of peace within your body. Moving that awareness all the way down into your legs, all the way down into your feet and your toes. And just scanning your body. And then I invite you to notice somewhere in your body where it feels pleasant, maybe calm, maybe at peace or in flow, whatever those words are to you. Just bring your attention to that place in your body. It could be a body part. It could be one cell in your body that you can see a pinpoint of light. It doesn't matter. And as you bring your awareness to that place in your body that feels good, I want you to think of the qualities you're feeling. Again, it may be peace, it may be love, it may be openness, it may be flow. Just whatever that is, bring those words to mind. And then I'm going to have us create what we call a kinesthetic anchor or a body anchor. So I want you to either grab your wrist, hand on your heart, cross your fingers, just touch some place on your body that feels appropriate, and begin to merge those qualities that feel good into that anchor where you're touching on your body. And allow those to merge with that place. We can use a body anchor to bring us back to center, to bring us back to remembering all of the qualities of that place that feels good in our body. Very good. And so as we do this, I'm going to move us into prayer. For I know that there is only one power, one presence, one intelligence that is the very creator of this entire universe and so much more. And this creator has imbued itself into all creation. And so I know that each of us is a divine vision made manifest in the eyes of spirit. And as we say this prayer, touching our kinesthetic anchor, I know that this truth is anchored within us, and that as we go throughout our lives, perhaps forgetting that we can come back to this place, to our anchor, to remember the truth of who we are, perfect, whole, complete beings of the divine. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for the science of mind. I'm so grateful for these tools that the science of mind gives to explore deeper our truth and our true nature. And I know that in this gratitude, that there is a manifestation of this talk, of this prayer, of the insight that has been wanting to reveal itself to you. And so I let these words be, knowing that they do not come back void, that what it does itself freely through you, through the law, and it comes back manifest, perfect, whole, and complete. And together we say, and so it is.